G'day everyone, T-Nick back here in Transport Fever. We are just outside San Bernardino looking at the orange food train, finishing its full load cycle, 36 of 42, so we are finally getting that food shipment down to Orange that we so desired. While he's loading, we've got another train of cattle from Tucson coming in, and all the way off in the distance you can see one of our other cattle trains. One of our other cattle train? We have two. Our other cattle train chuffing off back to the farm. So hopefully once we see this fella unload, we will see a bit of profit. Yeah, 155 grand, that's not bad. We can pay down the loan a bit. No, we can't, because we just ticked over to the end of the month and had to pay all our running costs. Never mind. I was hoping to pay that loan down before the end of the year. But, oh, never mind, we can do it. False alarm. Boom, done, make it happen. Look at that. So he's unloaded a goodly amount of cattle. Hopefully he's loaded up with some more food to take back to Tucson. And hopefully we should see one or both trains depart. Wow, it was like I planned it that way. I mean, I did, but I didn't expect it to actually work out. I'm sorry, I just had to sit quietly and admire the majesty of our two trains departing simultaneously. So what are we doing today? Well, I have connected up a passenger station in Orange with no actual train to serve it, and I've also started a line heading down towards Ventura. Now, in the theory that we will get more bang for our buck from our existing train if we can transport livestock. Well, okay, that's a bad example because he hasn't actually dropped any food off yet. But yeah, he's not doing great at the moment. But if we can extend this line, maybe throw a second train down, and we can start imitating our Tucson to San Bernardino livestock train with a San Bernardino to Ventura livestock train with the required truck connection at that end as well. We can then look at connecting our passengers up from Orange to Ventura, as well as Orange to Boston. Oh, it's getting exciting now, folks. We've got multiple trains on the same track, all sharing their space. We've got expertly placed we don't have any signals down here yet. Well, that's a bit of an oversight on my part. Oh, we have invented the Borsig. Sounds like some sort of delicious Eastern European tripe. Like a stew, I guess. But yeah, that's a thing that's been invented. Oh, I remember to put a signal in here. One signal. That'll do us. That's all we need. We only need one signal, because signals are for chumps. So we'll have the food train coming through this platform here, and then we've got the bypass track for the loaded livestock trains to come through as well. I'll throw this signal down here to protect the crossing. And obviously a signal on the outskirts of the town yard. So once we get our passenger train connected up, we will also need to run a bit of a bus service around town. I'm hoping the town will actually move around to engulf our passenger station, which will probably mean we move the freight station out of town to ensure maximum growth around our passenger station, because obviously if we're trucking it in, we can truck it in from anywhere, so we can move the freight station out here, say, in the long run. But short term, it's good to have it handy. Keep the truck route short. Here comes our food train now. He'll drop off and our horse and cart will pick it up. We've just moved into January, so we've paid a monumental 50 grand interest on our loan, but that's good because it means we've got a whole 12 months to borrow more money and hopefully pay some of it back again. But as I said, our first move will be over towards Ventura. So we're going to need a cattle siding in here. Looking at the way the fields are, I suspect the passenger line will have to detour around the outside, because there's no way we'll be able to parallel in and come through here without demolishing any fields. And then the attendant truck route will have to sort of start here and maybe come into town this way, which actually isn't that inconvenient. I didn't realise the town. In fact, the passenger line might be the one we build first, and the cattle station will be a branch off that. Obviously, that'll be the first one to see a train. But, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Now we have to think about what sort of station we're building in Ventura. Obviously the train will be coming from Boston through Orange to Ventura. Do we want to have sort of a curve station on the outskirts of town to route the line back through Minneapolis, San Bernardino, and maybe back into Boston as sort of a loop-de-loop? Or do we want to have sort of a terminus here and then have a line heading off to Minneapolis, Nashville, Minneapolis, Rockford, Minneapolis, San Bernardino rather, Minneapolis, Columbia, etc., etc., etc. Look, just looking at it, I think a terminus is going to be the order of the day here. I think we can get it reasonably central to town without having to demolish too much stuff. Let's swing that around here. Now we're looking at the industrial area here. So what about if we look? Okay, we've got the commercial. The residential's all over here, so it might be worth putting... Oh dear. Okay. I did like this side of town until I saw that god-awful monstrosity. Look at it! Look at it! It's awful! It's just ugly. Apparently Ventura has built itself on the side of a hill, which is not ideal for our purposes in the slightest. So we might end up having to put our terminus right on the outskirts of town and having a really good bus connection. Okay, see, I'm not hating there. We will obviously have to do a bit of landscaping around that. We've got sort of good opportunity for growth. I mean, we're probably going to end up with about 4 platforms here. It's hard to say, really. I just don't want to knock down any fields as we grow. In fact, over here might be a better bet because we're sort of doing less in the way of landscaping, and we've got tracks that can point ourselves off. So look, we'll start with 2 tracks now. We'll keep it simple. 2 tracks gives us 1 line back to Boston and 1 line up to Minneapolis, and from there we can expand the station if required. Obviously I could start with just the 1 track, but then we'd have to expand it at cost later. May as well just spend the money now. You know, why not? We've got the money. Look at that. We've got 521 grand. Now, if you know me, and you should by now, you know I don't like having money. I like pissing it away. So let's just throw that down there. That looks good. Now let's have a look. We need to connect up this platform here in this direction. So we will we will head on this sort of a route. Of course we need to demolish 2 bits of road to make that happen. Why wouldn't we? We'll just put that road back before we forget. I mean, it's not like we need it, but in fact we could even run trucks with grain up to this food processing plant as sort of a granary and double up on our food trucks heading back into town. That's another thought as well. We have so many options available to us for this episode. This is just going to drag on for about 4 million hours, and I'm going to have to edit it down, make tough calls, and it's going to be giant gaps in the footage, and it's not going to be pretty. So I'll throw you down like that, so it gives us an idea of how we want to connect. But it looks like we'll be running a straight line right down here to town, and this one will just go whoop up and join in. I've been building the rusty track by mistake because, as I've said many times before, this is entirely amateur hour. I didn't build rusty track in my station, did I? No, good. The rusty track is a mod. I've downloaded that to, if I stop using a line, for example, I replace a train with some trucks. Okay, that's more of a dip in the landscape than I expected. It does give us the opportunity to build a pretty spectacular viaduct. However, that comes with a pretty spectacular price tag. So we might look at that option in the future. But for now, we're just going to have to sort of follow the contour lines around here. Keeping it reasonably flat. Trying to keep it as straight as we can. Within reason, obviously. And we're out of money. Well, I can fix that by going to Mr. Bank Manager and saying, "Hello, it's me again. I'd like some more of that sweet, sweet money, please." You know what? This doesn't look like an unsurmountable obstacle to run the line that way. Or we can follow the road and come up by the steel mill, which is... Oh, look at this. This even snaps to the road. La-dee-da. So we can sort of run it out like this. Look, it does give us more track to have to build, but it also has the advantage of keeping our freight train reasonably well separated from our passenger train once we start running it. So we'll connect you up. Sort of bring you in here, I guess. That seems reasonable. And look at that, you're going to share the same track for a solid 50 meters or so before branching off again. So we'll bugger that signal off for $300, and we'll throw down a couple of signals here instead. Look, I realise I could probably just put a cross in there, but I like to keep it flexible just in case we need to do a bit of out-of-course train movements. Okay, so next step is to extend our current livestock train, our current food train, it says it in the name, dummy, from Orange Annex up to Ventura. So I'll select Orange Annex, we'll select Ventura, and this station is called Ventura West. Now, how does that line up with our current odds of where the compass should be? See, I think that let's see, Tucson, this was Tucson North, wasn't it? It was. Okay, so if that's north, that must be west. And that is Ventura West. Okay, good. So north is this way. Boston is north of the rest of the map. Good. It's a little thing, but it's important to me to get my bearings. Don't ask me to tell you what direction we're facing now. I honestly don't know. I've forgotten already. Now, did that line work out? Oh, look at that. It's like it read my mind. It knows to just go through this handy little bypass track I've built and not bother our passenger train at all. And the way I've set the signals up means that if the passenger train gets caught behind the freighter, he should, by the time he gets into the platform here, he should get right of way over the freighter to keep on going. So that's good. So we should start seeing some cattle appearing at Ventura West now that we've got that connected up. Okay, not yet, but soon. Let's just give it a minute. Okay, we may need to give it a couple of minutes, so I may as well just set that truck route up now and be done with it. So this time we do want the truck to catch both the farm and the station. How far away? Okay, so we don't want to get too much farther than that, or we lose the station in our catchment. So here we can now have a route taking food into town, and we can also have a route bringing grain from here to here and food back down to here. Again, same concept as the train. It's running loaded both ways, so more money, and it gives us more food to transport into town here. And you know what the best thing is? It will probably bring food from here down here, turn it over to the station, there's the cattle there coming in, put the food on the train back up to this station here where it will be distributed towards Tucson and or Orange. Not going to argue with it. It may lead us to build a second platform here on this siding just to save the double trip, but look, really doesn't bother me as long as we're not leaving cattle behind. It will be okay. But our first priority obviously is connecting this truck stop up with Ventura Town. And once again, I'd like to, is that a construction site or is that just blank land? If that's blank land, I'm having it. I want it. It's mine. Can I get a straight line? I can get a sort of a straight line. Yeah, I want that because that captures the commercial area and some of the industrial area. So if we ever start transporting fuel down here, we've already got a really ugly station. 70 grand. We may have to demolish that road, build it a bit lower down. That's a lot cheaper, and then we'll just ramp back up to the road like that. That looks ugly as hell. Wow, that's quite a dip. I reckon the local kids will come out here with their skateboards and use that as some sort of ramp to launch themselves into the side of the shed. Let's get rid of that. That's ugly. You know what? It's functional. It'll do. It covers a big chunk of the town. Life goes on. Now, it's not much use having those two truck stops because they're not actually connected. Unusually, the game hasn't generated a road between Ventura and Ventura Food Processing Plant, yet it's decided that the road should come all the way from Orange. So I'm assuming no one in Ventura works there, otherwise they'd have a difficult cross-country journey to undertake every day just to get into the office. So we'll run a road sort of in the right direction over here to where we've got our level crossing. That doesn't seem like too roundabout route. I mean, obviously I could have followed the railway line, but then as traffic and the private car starts to build, we might run into some problems there. So better to come in from the outskirts of town. We can use the existing truck depot in Orange to build our trucks, so I'm not going to waste what little money we have left on one of those. Oh, aren't the colours pretty? I will, however, set up a new route from Ventura Exchange. I said the colours were pretty, and we've just been gifted brown for our new route. I can't remember the naming convention. What are we going to call this? We will call this, I guess, Ventura Deliveries, to keep with the theme. Orange deliveries, Tucson deliveries, etc., etc. If you could please full load at Ventura Exchange, that would be fantastic. Now, do we have enough money to get a couple of horse wagons? We do. Look at that. Let's get 2 to start with until we start seeing some food coming past Orange. Down here to Ventura. We don't want to go too crazy, but they are underway, hopefully. There they go. Don't get hit by a train. Just careful. Look both ways. Okay, you guys got this. Because I bet there is a train somewhere in the area. Yes, there is. It's coming out of the tunnel now. Ooh, can we? Yes. Got there just in time. Yeah, I'm sort of glad we built that tunnel now. That's quite impressive, scenically. Scenically, is that a word? Is that a word we're going to use? We're going to go with it. I'm gonna let it happen. As I so often do in this game, I'm just going to run with it. It's all good. Now, to connect our passenger train up, obviously we now have a station at Ventura and Orange, so we could quite easily just have a passenger train shuttle between the two of those. But that's not connecting us to our main hub of Boston, and as we've got some shopping growth in... Well, okay, we've got mediocre shopping in Orange. Maybe people won't want to go from Boston all the way to Orange. I don't know. I'm spitballing, I'm guessing here. But, you know, we have that potential that people will want to go from Boston to Orange to do their shopping like they're already going to Tucson. In fact, I just looked at the station over here and we had a decent number of passengers. Are you turning a profit yet? You are. Oh, God, love that passenger train. And Tucson as well has a goodly number. 45, wow, and he's still at the other end of the line. We might have to add build second train to the list there. And it looks like you are running completely empty. Good. Well, that's okay. We've only just set the trucks up and they're all the way back here, so it's probably not too much of an issue that you're not bringing any food just yet. Plenty of food waiting at Orange Halt, though. That might become a problem later, so we'll while we see it, we'll chuck some more on Orange deliveries. Of course, how can I miss it? It's the Orange bloody line. Now, like a kid with ADHD, I am completely distracted. What were we doing? We were trying to connect Boston and Orange up by train. So we definitely want to head out along the existing line. However, I'd like to sort of bypass this freight area here without having to dick around with multiple tracks and junctions and flubby-bob. Head around here. What do the contours look like? Wow, that's almost ideal. So we can sort of head out here on the flat. We might have to skirt around the back of this quarry here. Probably skirt around the back of the refinery. I know I said I wanted to connect these two up, but that might not be the best solution, because if we pass through here, we're just going to branch off immediately to Boston anyway. Boston's probably going to be the more difficult end to work with, just looking at the contours. So let's price out a second platform. 145 grand. Well, you know what? That passenger train's showing a return, so I'm going to have a little faith. I'm going to hit the apply button. And I'm going to upset everyone because they're all going to have to move around on their platform because we just did some construction work. And where are you idiots going? Why'd you come down here? Don't you go in and out of there? Well, now you're going in and out of there. That's Lower Boston. You're going to Davis Street. Are you lost? Have I broken that route somehow? Which one's Davis Street? No, he's fine. He's just going on the scenic route for some reason. Right, okay, cool. That's good. That's a second platform there. We are going to need to sort of climb out of Boston here. Now, how is that going to go? Poorly. Right. Probably should have gone with the original idea of having the terminus and just running all the trains this way. Okay, well, let's start by getting rid of this road here, so we can just build a cutting up through like that. That's not great, is it? It's 280 grand. It's 280 grand of... If we go this way, it gets more expensive. If we go back to where we were, it gets more expensive. Whoa, that's some big dollars. Although, with a cutting there, it's probably going to be a simple matter to get a bridge over the top. So, 430 grand though. Hopefully it's a simple matter to get a bridge over that too. It probably won't be. Nothing's ever simple in this game. That's not going to let me... No, I'm going to have to demolish the houses too, aren't I? That's disappointing. Yeah, if we connect you up, you're going to want to do that. And you're just not going to want to build a bridge, are you? Nothing's ever simple in this game, is it? What if we try and connect you up this way? No, you're still going to be difficult. You're going to put in a bridge, but it's going to be one hell of an ugly bridge. We may have to rejig the road so it comes around this way. I mean, look, we don't need a road out here. It's not connecting any towns up, so no one's getting upset. But I like to rebuild any roads I destroy. We'll need to keep heading up the hill. Now that looks... it doesn't look terribly reasonable. Terribly reasonable? That's a conflicting word if ever I... Conflicting phrase if ever I heard it. Now, if we build you across the railway line, are you going to bugger the railway line up? You sure are. Right. Okay, this means war. I don't know why I demolished that. The town could have always used that road later. What if we run a bridge over here? Will that be... That's a bit more palatable, although it's a bit tight. If we go up further, that's a bit better. Look at that. Why can't we do this all the time? And I don't know about the wooden deck on this. Or that. Oh, that looks nice. 85 grand. Yep, you know what? Done. This town is worth it. Boston, it's going to be a thing. Yeah, connecting that up is going to be a bit interesting. What we'll do is we'll just sort of encourage the town to do it for us, I reckon. We've seen before in Tucson the town is willing to help us out, so hopefully the town is willing to play ball here. Hopefully we can also squeeze a second track under this bridge when the time comes. But having spent most of our track laying budget on one road bridge and cutting, we shall continue up the mountain and past this refinery. Are we going to scrape in? We are. Just look at that. It's almost like I planned it out in advance, which I didn't actually. I just sort of showed up and talked my way through it, as I am wont to do. Now, how are we going here? I can see we're trying to avoid this hill, and we're trying to avoid snapping too much to that road. That worked. We are going to have to go back down again towards the food processing plant, though. Yes, I didn't think it'd like that. No, it's not too bad. No, we're staying reasonably true to the landscape. Yeah, a little bit of a divot there. We'll go around the forest, please the greenies. And we have reached our food processing factory. I think I'm just going to call it a bloody butcher. That's a lot easier to say. No, I don't want to select Rusty. Hey, nope. Okay, we appear to be broke again. That is easily fixed. Simply pump the loan up, because why the hell not? It's not like we've got to pay it back or anything. Put a 60k turnout in. That seems reasonably realistic. Well, who am I kidding? At this stage of history, they'll probably put in 25k turnouts in. But you know, 60 is good. It's a reasonable balance between attractive and game balancing. We'll share the single track into orange. Obviously, they've got their little crossover here, and then it's a dedicated track to Ventura. Now, I could be a complete tight ass and just extend our existing train, Tucson to Boston, all the way out to Ventura, but I feel that would put a dent in the number of people who want to travel between Boston and Tucson, because why should they be punished? Well, may as well pay the loan down again while I'm yakking. Why should they be punished because we're being tight? So once the new year ticks around, we will borrow up again and get a second train going. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I might connect our two tracks up just so we can share rolling stock between them. You are going to let me build another track up through that cutting, which is very good of you, but obviously we don't need to at the moment. I'll just pop a turnout in there. That's fine. And obviously we'll eventually have this track coming out here, so we'll just pop in a set of points like that. Good. Okay, so that means we can share our tracks. We can bring everything out of our depot at Tucson, because we've got our passing loop set up for that second train I was going to build, but haven't yet because the demand isn't quite there. Who knows? Once we plumb in Orange and Ventura into the network, I think I'm mixing my metaphors up now. I'm talking it like it's a pipe diagram and not a train network. But yeah, once we get those additional towns in our catchment, for want of a better term, we can run those passengers down here. They can change at Boston for the run up to Tucson. Good, we've started December in the red. Thankfully, that didn't last long. Another thing we can do now that we have our line between Boston and Orange connected is we can connect our refinery up to this line. Quite a simple matter to put a cross track in there. And we can send fuel down to our siding here, because if I remember correctly, nope, we didn't catch the industrial error. Well, we can run fuel all the way down to Ventura and truck it into town there. So it's good to have options. It's good to have options. Good to keep our options open. Now, getting from our passenger line over to San Bernardino might be a bit of a stretch in the future. We might have to do something with a branch off here, sort of crossing the freight line and coming in this way. That might be what we have to look at. Or we might have to look at just coming around the long way to San Bernardino from Tucson, just to avoid crossing tracks altogether. Because I'm wary that in the future we'll obviously be running more trains. I'm thinking these sort of first few towns here, and yes, I'm including you, Minneapolis. They're going to be our primary towns, and if anything, they might become sort of satellite suburbs of Boston, and we'll draw them into the main network as we go. Get rid of the contour lines; they sort of break up the map a bit. However, this yakking has brought us all the way up to just before Christmas Eve. We're doing well on the fuel front. Production of 400. We don't seem to be having too much crude oil bank up, which is good. And we're still pretty much meeting that demand in Boston, so we don't want to expand our oil operations yet. But something else I will look at in the future is replacing 2 trains with a longer train hauled by one of these locos, the General, I believe it's called. Just because once you've got 2 locos running with say, let's just say 10 wagons apiece, you're paying for 2 locos and 20 wagons. If you can run sort of those same 20 wagons with 1 loco, you're going to save money. It's simple maths. But that waffling took us into the new year. Happy New Year. It's now 1863. Obviously the fireworks are on back order. So let's just borrow a bit of money and set ourselves up a new line. Oh, grey. Oh, this is going to be a fun network map. Oh, grey. That's desirable. So we'll be running you out through Boston to Orange. That's the freight station. That was silly. To Orange Station, please. Over to Ventura Station. Stopping again at Orange Station, and then you complete your line by yourself. Now you've decided to take the vacant platform, I trust. Yes. Pick a different colour for this. Let's pick a sort of a teal. It's more of a green. I wanted to pick a sort of a blue-green to go with our light blue Southern line. In fact, let's take a dark blue. Keep the passenger trains on the blue part of the colour wheel. Now, I can't remember which way north was. North was this way. So we're looking north now. So this will be, we'll call it the Eastern Suburbs line. As I said, these 2 towns will probably end up being suburbs, and look, we probably won't extend this line much further. We might extend it to Tucson if we need to sort of saturate that corridor later. We'll call it the Eastern Suburbs line for now. We've got all our stations in there. All we need is a train, and with 1.5 million, that should be able to buy us a decent enough train. So we've got the General. We also had the Borsig built. Invented rather. Same top speed, however less horsepower. Cheaper to run though. Borsig was a German company based in Berlin. Well, if you're based in Berlin, I guess you'd want to be German. For that time, the locomotive was a very competitive model, but it was still manufactured without a roofed cabin. Cabine? That's got to be a typo, right? You know what? We are an American map. I'm going to try and... I know I said I'd use every... I'd have access to every train because I believe that Variety is the spice of life, but the General has served us pretty well, I think, so I'm going to put me down for one of those. We also have the Bavarian car built, this fun little four-wheeler, but I'm going to go with the passenger car again. How many can we get? 1, 2, 3. We can get 4. Let's just future-proof it, get 4 right from the get-go. Send him on the Eastern Suburbs line and watch the triumphant departure. And our second passenger train rolls out of the depot and into our hearts. Aww. We'll just awkwardly spin the camera around. That's right, I'm subtly hiding the fact that the doors are going to slam on the train again. Now, are we going to see a cross with our existing passenger train at this loop? I can see him off in the distance. It's definitely a possibility. Let's just sort of follow him. Awkwardly, with the camera controls being as fun as they are. Let's see if getting closer helps. Nope, we're still going to outpace him, okay? Let's see, signal's still red. Mate, you might want to get the brakes on. Yep. Get the brakes on. Okay, no, it's okay, he's got this. I hire professional drivers, I should trust them. Right, okay, well let's just let the bank balance tick away slowly and we will wait for our cross. For the benefit of those of you watching at home, I might have to cut a bit of this intervening guff out, but we will have a dramatic cross on our hands shortly. Clearly the business of transporting food into Tucson is going well. For the intervening time period, all I've heard is trot, 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 trot of all of our horses and carts wandering back and forth. Obviously the cart does not make the trotting noise. That would be the horse. No friendly whistles to say welcome to the network, no? Well, the passengers on our existing train looking out at our brand new train with shiny carriages thinking, why the hell didn't we get that? Because you didn't ask. Now, it's all good and well to have this second train set up. It's marvellous. It's going to be popular. Is anyone waiting for it? No. Now, the reason no one's waiting for it probably is because when we take people to Orange, we're going to dump them all the way out here on the outskirts of town and make them walk wherever they want to go. That does not suit me. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not heartless like that, so I'm going to immediately, without any ado, like literally no ado whatsoever, throw down a bus depot. Was that a wise decision? I don't know. I didn't actually think about what I was trying to do here. Something that is bugging me, though, is pave that bit of road there. Good. Right. Now, where are we going to run our bus woot? Woot? Woot! Where are we going to run our bus woot? It sounds like I have cotton candy in my mouth. We'll keep a road going out in that direction. And we'll just bring this road down here to make a nice little intersection. And that lets us put in a bit of a circle here. We can come up here, down here, around the back here, and then loop on itself, which is completely pointless without bus stops. So let's throw one down here. We'll throw one down on this road here. Actually, we can probably get better coverage if we put it around here. And we'll throw one down on this side here. So hopefully the passenger station extends to there. Yes, we've got overlap of the entire town. My only concern is that the game will try and calculate the bus to do a bit of a U-turn here to come down here and do another U-turn. If that happens, we'll add a completely pointless stop just because I am a sucker for attractive bus routes that look natural. We've gone with grey again. I don't know if we're going to keep grey. I don't care for grey, mostly because it blends into the road and I have no idea what's going on. So from Professor Oak Street, we head up to Wilson Street. So this is what I mean. It wants to do the U-turn. What happens if we include Maple Street? Yes, it's actually going to go around the block and complete the route perfectly. Oh, ye of little faith. We will call this the Orange City Circle. Ironically, it is not yet orange. Boom, now it is. Wasn't that simple? Is that the same naming convention I've had? Orange, City Circle, Orange... Oh, crap, they're both sharing a colour. Oh, well. We'll run with it for now. It might get a bit confusing later. Let's chuck a couple of stagecoaches on there. Orange City Circle. See, I nearly put them on orange deliveries then. Well, you didn't see it, but I saw it happening, and I avoided it. Because that's the kind of guy I am. Why make mistakes if you can avoid them? That's really not the motto of this game. You're going to see a lot of bulldozer usage because I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and I'm not going to hide them. Oh, we can pay our loan down again. Good stuff, because as you can see, our annual interest is slowly creeping up, which is something to keep an eye on. Be mindful of it. Looks like we've had our first food delivery, and you're leaving with a full load of cattle. How are you going lifting that load too? You're picking up speed reasonably quickly. Will be worth keeping an eye on him though, because if we want to add more wagons, we will need either a second engine or a more powerful engine. The latter not being possible at this stage, so we might have to go for a second train on that route as well. It is longer than the route we set up to begin with from Tucson, and yeah, obviously that means we'll have a higher build-up of cattle at this end. Now we've got a need for a passenger service in Ventura, which look, it's got potential to be quite a big town. I reckon Ventura will be one of the places that we end up putting trams in further down the line. We'll enable a circle out here to get this growth area out here. Plenty of real estate to develop, because there's no point just running a circle around here if this northern area is going to explode. I hope I got that direction right. I'm going to watch the video back and cringe if it's wrong. I'm sure it's right. I'm pretty switched on. The lies we tell ourselves. Now, I can either put a bus terminal in here, or I could have a bus stop sort of here, and then connect this road up. No, we'll go with the bus terminal. We'll start off and stay consistent. Start off and stay consistent. I think that's a mutually exclusive phrase. I do want to connect that up just for completeness, but resist the urge to waste money. We'll put a double bus stop in here. I thought it would remove the trees. Well, at least there's plenty of shade there. That's something, I guess. Yeah, let's just go with it and just, see what happens. I'll throw a bus stop not at a tree there. Throw another one not at a tree there. We'll put one up here as well. Make sure we're getting catchment. Now again, hopefully he doesn't want to do a U-turn here to come back through town. But the way we handled orange, I think, was superb. Really like grey. You're really keen for grey, aren't you? Not for road routes. Maybe for a freight train route would be. Grey would be appropriate. How's it going to handle it? It's going to do it properly. Nailed it. And back in at Valley Street, please, to make sure we scrape our buses on the tree. And we'll call that the Ventura. City. Say it with me. Circus. Circle. So close. Now, again, we will probably just build our stagecoaches up here because I am cheap and it's worked for us so far. It will take them a little while to get there, but you know what? Life goes on. It'll be fine. We might change our tune when we have to upgrade them and we have to wait for them to go all the way back to the depot. But for now, let's focus on changing this colour, because grey is not doing much for me. Lighter grey, now that's doing something for me. At least you can see it from the road, and it stays true to the original concept the game had for the line, which was, well, grey. Good. Okay, now one other thing we wanted to do was set up our little grain route up here. Now I think this will be a temporary short-lived solution. Further down the track, I'd rather truck my grain out to sort of a terminal and rail it to another food processing plant. I realise I could quite easily take it up to this one as well by throwing a couple of grain wagons on that train. However, the way I like to play my industries, just to throw a bit of challenge in there, is I like to only make one thing at a time. So in this case, we're transporting cattle to San Bernardino food processing plant. So I see this as sort of an abattoir. In fact, we will actually rename that abattoir, and you can watch me fail at spelling it. I think that's right. Abattoir. And no one needs to see if it's wrong. I'm sure someone will correct me because that's just what people on the internet do. Look, initially we'll transport the grain up to this one because we've already got the road in place. It'll be a very low cost operation. Further down the line we might truck it up to Minneapolis and use that to provide Minneapolis with food. I don't know. Or we might rail it to the other side of the map on a massive grain train and just be like, look at this spectacle of this massive grain train blocking all of our passenger trains. So pretty much just like real life. Yeah. So we need to set up a truck stop at the food processing plant. How's the landscape? Very flat. Good. No, I don't want that. That makes everything look pretty colours. Let's bosh that in sort of... How far down the road can we get without losing it? Okay, about there. 8,000? I'll take it. That's ludicrously cheap compared to what I've been paying. Now we got two options. We can run one truck route just back and forth as a yo-yo. He'll take grain up there and food back here, unload the food here, and then obviously we'll transport it into town. I think that's the way I'm going to go. The other option being to sort of just run a sneaky road down here, a stealthy sort of road, and then run a separate route. But obviously that means we're running empty in one direction. So empty from the food processing plant back to the farm, and empty from the town back to the food processing plant. Third option, and it's one that I literally just considered, which is why I didn't, highlight that I had three options. I could set up a route. We could absorb these trucks into that route. We could run a train from here, taking grain to the factory, grain and food rather. Then from here we can take any food down to the town. Of course, then we would have to run empty back out to the farm again. But look, it is a third option that we could do to simplify things. But I think I'll probably end up going with the first option. I don't know why I bothered rattling off all those options if I had it set in my mind that, you know what, grey, fine. Grey it is. We can be grey. Grey like a miserable winter's day. I don't actually mind winter. Winter's alright. I like winter. I mean, the cold drags on you a bit, especially when it's raining or windy, but it's just nice not to walk around and get all sweaty. So we will call that, what's our naming convention? Crude fuel Boston. Okay, so we will call this grain/food Ventura. Good. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. We'll obviously need a couple more trucks in here to absorb this traffic. So we'll start by building a couple more horse wagons for Ventura deliveries. And we'll build 2 for grain and food Ventura. Good. Excellent. That's good. That's good. And look at that, we're getting some more money in the bank despite me spending it like it's going out of style, which is good because I'm leaning towards a second train for this route. And we have our first passenger. God, I am like a kid with ADHD. Like a squirrel that's had too much caffeine. One passenger who wants to go to Boston. Can we find them and see why they want to go to Boston? You want to go to a shop. Which shop is that? There we go. So this chap, despite having better shopping available to him in Orange, is willing to use our train to go to Boston to do his shopping. And you know what? I don't mind. I'm not upset by that at all. I think that's fantastic. If he wants to buy a ticket on our lovely new train, mate, be my guest. And I forgot to put signals in at this junction. Massive oversight on my part. I apologise in advance. Now the food train doesn't need a signal because he has one at the platform. We don't need one here because the food train has one up there. We probably should put in, if we're gonna be buying another train for that route, we probably should be putting in a second track. Obviously we'll leave the tunnel single track because expensive. But 25 grand, it's not beyond the realm of our budget. Now that's going to be a big cutting, so let's just pop a turnout in there. Let's say a 50k turnout. That's reasonable. Yeah, it's alright. Tooting into the tunnel you shall go. It's a bit of an ugly corner here. We'll obviously have to smooth that out as we move down the line. Well, managed to line the second track up well here. Nice one, idiot. So let's just hit the pause button before we liberally start bulldozing everything. Let's just smash everything. Smash it all back and start again. Well, as this will be the main line now, we may as well continue this track around this way. And then we'll continue this track down like. Okay, we'll continue this track sort of down and try again. We'll continue this track down to connect up like this. What do we got? Oh, they're fairly fast points, aren't they? Let's go with 60k points. That'll do. That's quite reasonable. May as well connect the second track up here out of the factory. 59k points. Fair enough. Don't know what the difference in radius is, but apparently there is one. And that's good because that way we can keep things moving because everything's coming in and out of this platform. He can cross over or whatever he needs to do there, and then we're going to keep things organized. And is that an ugly dip in the track with that? No, I see ballast starting to bleed over the sleeper, and I get concerned that we've got an ugly dip and jolt in the track. We'll obviously need to connect this up here. What do we get down to? About 50 there. 50 seems reasonable. Good, leave that dead end there to remind me which side of the line to expand on when we double track towards Boston. We'll may as well unpause and throw some signals down. We'll put one there, put one there, put one there. Good. Now we need to make them one-way signals, please. Yes, good. That one obviously can't be one-way. That would be stupid. That doesn't seem to have broken anything. Although the passenger train wants to go both directions on this line instead of using this line as it's supposed to. But we should be able to correct that with a one-way signal up the other end. I mean, why would he want to use this track both ways if he doesn't have to? Just ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So once we make you a one-way signal, see, fixed, and isn't the blue and red patriotic? Well, we are playing an American map. If it was Australian, wouldn't be very patriotic. Throw some signals in just to keep the trains spaced out if they should decide to run on the same track at the same time. That's a good number of signals. I've obviously got this signal here protecting the yard. Are you going to pick anyone up here? No, you've managed to leave empty. Oh, we do have a passenger. We have a couple of passengers waiting at Ventura. Let's see if we can pick them out. They're at this bus stop. Here you are. I see you hiding in the corner. Bleeding through the glass. Don't vandalise my bus shelter. You're going to work. Okay, so you work in Orange. Fantastic. We're starting to get commuters on the Ventura to Orange line as well. Good. Well, we have a passenger wanting to go Orange to Boston, one wanting to go Ventura to Orange, so that says that all three stations are going to be a reasonable success. Now we need a second train on here, so we'll need to put a passing loop in sort of along this line somewhere, just so we don't have a hold up in the event that both trains want to go to the farm at the same time. So we'll bring this line up here. I guess we'll sort of connect it up there, just for now. Eventually we will be double tracking significant portions of these routes, and it won't really matter, you know, that we've got this funny little junction here, because we'll have the two tracks come straight into the freight yard, or even if we move the freight yard out here, we'll have a line straight through the centre of town, and it won't be much of an issue. But for now, we're just going to have to deal with a few odd bits of track laying. We'll swap that signal out for this one here, make him one way, and we'll pop another signal in here and make him one way. Da-da-da-da! Big success. That red line, the cattle/food line, is doing exactly what we want it to. Yes, now if we are going to start producing, we're bringing food back here. For some reason we're taking cattle up there. That's annoying. I had wanted just the grain to go. It might be worth retrofitting. Oh, if we retrofit them to be grain only, then we're going to have a problem bringing the food back. What a surprise. I didn't think something all the way through. You know what? I'm going to get rid of this line. Grain Food Ventura. Look, it was a nice idea, but I think it's going to complicate things too much. So they're going to head back to the depot and be sold, and we will cancel that route there, and we'll just demolish that. Yeah, look, wasn't the best use of our money, but we can still pay a bit of the loan down before the end of the year, which is good, and I think that puts us back in the same position we started the year on. So how much do we borrow? About $1 million? We've paid it down already. I don't think we're doing too bad. I don't think we need to be too worried. As soon as the year ticks over, obviously we'll be looking to purchase ourselves a second train. With the loss of food coming down here, that means we don't need the second platform in orange. So we should be able to just put everything straight into motion. Is it worth putting a signal here? Can we fit a freight train in this section? I would say we can. Let's put that down there. Just in case we have one train trying to load food and the other one coming up behind him, he can wait off the main line and not block a passenger train going this way. Obviously, if he waited at this signal, he wouldn't be blocking passenger trains going this way, but he'd still block ones going this way. And any disruption to our burgeoning, I hope I pronounced that right, passenger network is bad. Because, well, come on, we've got, one person waiting to go each way now. That's something. The passenger train is down here. He's running empty at the moment, but we have... Okay, no one waiting here. Look, it'll take him a couple of runs to really bed in. But it is encouraging to see people at, almost every station wanting to use the train, at least. Do we have any oil or anything down here? So there's no real benefit to extending our fuel deliveries down this way, is there? No, because the nearest oil well's all the way up here. I was thinking maybe before we finish we could run some fuel down towards Ventura and then run oil back again, but I don't think that would be terribly productive. But there we go, we've set up our commuter routes in Ventura and Orange. We've extended our passenger line out to Ventura. We've extended our cattle and food line out to Ventura. And we've got a nice build-up of food coming in here. They're all going to Tucson. And plenty of food going back towards Orange and Ventura, which is good. Thus highlighting the need for a second train. He's doing pretty well for himself. We might have to upgrade the trains on this route too, because they're only hauling 32 at a time. And they've got 29 waiting. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Getting a bit ahead of myself. Just calm down. Just take it back a notch. Just talk your way to the end of the year. Still haven't connected this road up either, have I? That's not very smart. No, okay, we've got a level crossing in the way. What if we... No. Ugly. That is unnecessarily high. I do want to connect it up just because I'm a completionist. And it will kill a bit of time before the end of the year. Now if we sort of swing the road around like that and then try and run it over like that, what's that going to do for us? It's still a bit of a hump, isn't it? But if we go down, it's not going to build us a bridge, is it? Right. Can we put a level crossing in here? We can. Is that going to be ugly as sin? Oh, there's a bump there. I don't like the bump. No. No, you will not ruin my railway line. Not again. Okay. What if we go around the back? No, then we run into this problem over here. Because I feel for the workers trying to get here. They're going to park their car out here, walk across the tracks, and walk all the way into work. It's just not fair. I'm not that kind of guy. What if we drag the road... Oh, autosave's getting in the way. What if we drag the road around like that, and then around... No. Around like... No. Not possible at all. Okay, you're going to build a bridge there. And again, it's not terribly attractive, is it? No. Bugger. What if we put a level crossing in like this? Will that be a bit more reasonable? Oh, here we go. The road's rising to meet the track. It's still creating a bit of a bump, but I'm confident I can fix that. That's not too bad of a bump, actually. I don't hate it. It's going to make the road awkward to connect up, though. Nope, demolished a tree by mistake. All that work avoiding the forest earlier has been completely undone. Bring that around, connect it up like that. I realise this is just completely pointless pissing away of money, but that looks alright. I think that looks nice. And let's get into a nice view. Here we go, we got a nice little level crossing just near the junction. Some magic floating numbers in the distance. You know, this isn't ideal here. We're going to have to address that later. But Yeah, I want to get that second train going so I can wrap things up for today. Because, yeah, we are seeing a large build-up of cattle down here. And 42, 70. Those numbers just, they don't work for me. So let's borrow another 500 grand. Just add that to the loan there. We'll grab the general, please. And how many boxcars do we have? 5? Okay, borrow a bit more. I thought $1 million would cover it. Obviously not. 35. 42. Okay, well, borrow a bit more money. This is becoming an expensive proposition, isn't it? Okay, so that's up to 76 meters, 42 out of 42. Good. Close everything so we don't have to look at it anymore. And you are food Sinbad to orange, which we will now have to rename as well, obviously. You are now cattle / food Sinbad to orange to, I guess we'll just call it vent. It's hard to mistake what that means. So you're taking cattle and food, Sinbad to orange to vent and back again. Yep, pretty much in order too. Good. Okay, so there's our existing train. Now you should be coming in to pick up some of this food waiting. Oh, we've got 50 food here. God, there's obviously a big market for food down in Orange and Ventura. Might need to put some more delivery trucks on before we go today as well. Because if we start getting a food backlog anywhere, that means this bloke here will start getting upset. San Bernardino Abattoir. And we don't want them getting upset because they're a big portion of our profit at the moment. We don't have too much food waiting here. 9. I might chuck 2 more on. Where are our trucks? Are there? Just to future-proof it because we have put a whole nother train on. And I might put 2 more down at Ventura as well just to make sure that we're keeping on top of things. So you are on orange deliveries, not the city circle. I don't know how my passengers would handle having to get in the back of a dirty horse cart. You are on Ventura deliveries too. Good, we can pay down a bit of that loan. We're only in February, we've got nothing to worry about this year in terms of loan. I reckon we'll be able to pay it down a bit, and after I finish recording today, I'll run the clock out to 1865 just to try and make a dent in the finances. So, you know, you guys are watching high quality construction and not me sitting here watching trains chuff up and down the line trying to pay down the loan before the interest is due. Yeah, but I reckon we've done pretty well today. I mean, what have we done? We've extended our passenger line from Boston to Ventura. We've extended our cattle and food line from San Bernardino to Ventura. We've put in some commuter routes. We've put in some deliveries. We've had a half-assed attempt at a local food service that really didn't pan out. But you know, putting that aside, it's been a very successful day. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on our adventure. I look forward to seeing you next week. At this stage, I have no idea what I want to do. I might think about that as I tick that calendar year along. You know, maybe we'll be extending the passenger line. We might look for some more freight to run. I keep banging on about this well-placed factory south of Boston, bringing consumer goods into Boston. I'm not sure if the game has sort of a shopping list in mind when people commute for shopping, but they might be moving up to Tucson to buy food, but they might come from Tucson to Boston if they want to buy goods. I don't know how it works. All I know is we have a wonderful factory here. We have access to logs and planks. We have access to plastic. We could probably have access to steel if we wanted. We just need coal, which is over here somewhere. But we have plenty of options in this part of the map, and when you think about it, we've only just started our journey. We still have so much more to connect up. So until next week, thanks for watching. I've been T-Nick, and this has been Transport Fever in the land of the free. See you all next time.